This conference will now be recorded.
As you just heard, this conference will be recorded. One of the aspects of the open meeting law suspension is that we must conduct open meetings and also publish the videos or transcripts of those meetings. Our committee is also going to try to every extent possible to continue to accept feedback from the public. So we appreciate your patience and cooperation as we try and do that as well. For tonight's meeting, after we go through the agenda, each applicant will have 2 minutes to present their application, why they are here, what they are seeking, and the proposed method of operation. Then we'll have time for committee discussions and questions, and then any questions or comments from the public. If you have simple questions, either about how this this meeting is being run, or about an application, you can do it via the chat function. The best way to do that on your chat is select organizers only. Everything submitted through the chat is public record, and if you submit it as organizer only, it will go to Frank, Nellie, and myself. Nellie is our assistant district manager, and we will make sure to then ask those questions of the applicant. Other features to know of, please obviously keep yourself muted. We will unmute you after you raise your hand, or if you just in the chat function you want to say something, say I'd like to speak. Please go and rename yourself if you are a member of the community board, or if you are an applicant. After your name, if you could say that you're a community board member or an applicant, we would appreciate that. You're also able to toggle between a view where you see everyone's face on your screen versus just the person who is speaking. And this committee will make recommendations on each item to the full board, and the full board will then make recommendations to the State Liquor Authority. The next full board is on May 6th. I'm going to turn it over to Frank in case I forgot anything, and then we'll allow all the community board members to introduce themselves as well.
No, that covered everything. Why don't I just call on people and let them introduce themselves? I guess we have Rob Walker by phone. Rob. Okay, Bert, can you unmute and introduce yourself?
I am Bert Lasman, committee member.
Christine? There's Christine up there, and the Mike.
Okay.
No.
Christine,
there we go.
member of the community board. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, hi, Mike Noble, member of the community board. And
Brian?
Hey everyone, Brian SoCal, member of the community board.
Wendy?
Hi, Wendy Gonzalez, member of the community board.
And Inga?
Inga Ivchenko, community board member.
Are any other committee members on by phone? Yeah, okay. Back to you, Yoni.
Thank you. And thank you all for your patience during these trying times. First up on the agenda, number 1 is 151 8th Avenue, entity performed by Kevin McNulty and Frank Mistero. I believe we have Kevin and his attorney here. Nellie, can you unmute both Kevin and his attorney?
Yes, give me 1 second. I have Kevin listed twice.
I got him. Max, can we hear you and test your audio?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kevin McNulty, applicant.
Great, we got both of you.
Oh, Yoni?
Take it away, Max or Kevin, or however you'd like to go for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, CB4. Max Bookman here. Never thought I'd say this, but I miss going to community board meetings. I want to commend you all for really leading the way. You know, our firm deals with many community boards, and CB4 has really led the way in terms of getting this remote system up and running. I think as far as the Manhattan boards, you're the first one that we've seen that has been able to get it organized in this fashion. So I know it's not as convenient in a lot of ways as meeting in person, but we appreciate the effort that you're making, especially Nellie and Jesse, for all the work that you've put in, and not only with this, but communicating with our office on a number of licensing matters during this tough time. So thank you. With me remotely is Kevin McNulty, and the application is for Flight 151, a neighborhood pub, bar, restaurant that's been in your community for, I believe, 27 years and counting. It's on 8th Avenue between 17th and 18th Street. Over the years, Flight 151's gone through changes in ownership. I was before you last in 2017, representing new owners coming in at that point in time. You unanimously approved that application. And in similar vein, this is another change in ownership. So Kevin is an owner of Reservoir, a similar sort of neighborhood pub down in the CB2 area, down by Union Square on University Place and 12th Street. And he is buying, him and his partner Frank Mistero are buying Flight 151. So ownership is changing. Just like in 2017, nothing else is changing. And so the stipulation sheet that we submitted to you was just a copy and paste of what we submitted to you in 2017. The only things that we changed were the ownership information, but things like hours of operation, floor plan, music, you name it, that's all been identical from what you approved in 2017. And in turn, what you approved in 2017 was identical to what had been in operation before that. So again, nothing changing, but the owners, they're going to upgrade the menu a little bit, maybe a fresh coat of paint, but nothing else is changing. So with that, happy to answer questions.
Okay. As Max just said, we recommended approval of this back in November of 2017 with the same hours, 4 a.m. close every night, and the same capacity, same number of tables, same number of chairs. Max, I had just a couple technical questions about the application. On the second page, you didn't circle any music. I assume you want at least background music.
Yeah. Give me 1 minute. Let's see if mine has the same thing.
Yeah, nothing circled.
Yeah, at least background music. We want whatever we previously had. I'm not sure why that didn't translate to your stip sheet.
It was filled in by hand last time, so, and it was only background music.
Well, if it was only background music, then Kevin, no DJs, right?
No, nothing like that. Just the jukebox that we have originally.
Oh, so there's a jukebox.
It's a small. It's our sound system. It's just a radio.
So we'll do background music and jukebox.
Okay. On the occupancy numbers, you have one bar but no seats at the bar. There were 8 before, and your seating plan makes it look like there still are 8 seats at the bar.
Yeah, that's correct. 8.
Okay.
That's the type one.
Okay. And then last thing I have is our question phrased in the negative on page 4 under building design.
You get us with that one?
Yeah, will the applicant agree not to put obstructions on the sidewalk?
When are you going to change this? Everyone is working from home now. This is a good opportunity to change this.
Can we make that yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Send it back to you, Yoni, to get comments from
Thank you. So members of the committee, if you have anything you would like to say, can you just send a chat to the organizers only, and then Nellie, Frank, or myself will call on you so we're not all talking at the same time.
While that's happening, I would just say, where our firm is working remotely too, and so we're getting used to that. So Frank, thank you for pointing out those issues.
Christine, did you have your hand up before?
I had the same questions you had. Thanks.
Okay, is Bert raising his hand? Bert?
Mo?
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Bert, we can't hear you. Can you try again? I heard you for a little.
Mo, I'm in a meeting.
In the previous 2 years on the same method of operation, are there any complaints in the files?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna now take comments from the public. If you have something you'd like to say, please message the organizers only. Right now we have one person in the queue. James, you'd like to say something for up to 2 minutes? See, I'll unmute you, James. James, can you?
Hey guys.
No,
Can you hear me? Okay, I'm James Leftwich. I live above that bar at 151 East Avenue, and the music has been an issue for some time. With the previous owners, like when Roy owned the bar, if I called down, they would turn it down and it would be okay. But the last owners, I had serious issues with the level of the music. It would keep me up at all hours of the night. Sometimes they would have the bar open way past 4 o'clock, playing music up until 6 o'clock in the morning. I know this is a new owner coming in, but when I saw that the notice was up, I just wanted to, join this meeting, let you know problems that I've been having. Also, the doors, the windows are from the ground to about 7 feet. They open the entire front of the bar. Everyone, they go right out front. They smoke cigarettes. The cigarette smoke comes straight to my apartment. So I'm just, it's been very, very difficult. And I just want to see if you guys can address those issues. Thank you.
Thank you, James. We will address those with the applicant. We're going to take if there are any other comments from the public. I don't see anyone unless there's someone who can push a button on their phone. Oh, Christine has something to add. Christine, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I guess if there are issues, we probably need to go a little deeper into the sound protection, etc.
Yeah,
Let me
that's
know
what I was thinking. I don't know if Max or Kevin, if there's any soundproofing or sound report you're able to do, and what you can do with the spillage out to the front.
So let me just address, there were two issues I heard, sound and smoking. So let me just address them backwards. In terms of smoking, my understanding of this building is that on either side of us, it's just one-story buildings. And so we'd be happy to implement a policy that we enforce with signage asking patrons to move cigarette smoking to either side of our building where there's only one-story buildings, so that they're not directly in front of Mr. Leftwich's building. Hopefully that would be amenable to him. In terms of sound, what I'm hearing, and if I'm paraphrasing it wrong, I'll be corrected, was that not necessarily an inherent problem with soundproofing. It was a problem with the operator. Roy, who had been the previous operator, if there was an issue, it seemed like there was open lines of communication there, whereas it hasn't been the case with the current owner. One thing I'd be happy to offer Mr. Leftwich, and I've not discussed this with Kevin, my client, yet, but I assume he would have no problem with it, is right now we can give him Kevin's cell phone number, his partner Frank, so that they have a direct line to the owner of the business in case there's any issues. If we need to do something, after we've been open, if there's something more serious or significant that needs to be done, I think we could address that with Mr. Leftwich. But it seems like it's more of a communication problem with the previous owner that we'd like to remedy.
Yeah. Although Max, it sounded like there were sound problems with the past two owners, but the first one was more, the 2 owners ago person was more helpful about turning the sound down. But it sounds like the sound was still bothering the people upstairs, even under that ownership. So, I don't know if you're going to try to keep the sound lower, or if not, there may be structural issues.
I mean, one thing I think we could offer, if we could put into the stipulations, is that we could purchase a sound limiter that would be installed, tested. If Mr. Leftwich would let us into his apartment, we could test it with the limiter, and then agree to keeping that limiter operational and kept at the limit, so that Mr. Leftwich can't hear music in his apartment.
And then Max, the other thing on the smoking issue, it sounded to me like people were, as Mr. Leftwich described it, people were sort of stepping out through the glass doors and just onto the sidewalk. But I'd remind your client that if there's any amplified sound inside, all the doors and windows have to be closed, and they have to be closed at 10 and 11 p.m. anyway, which stuff stipulations you agreed to. So that might also help the smoking problem. People can't just, walk out from their tables and start smoking.
Understood.
Hello?
Christine, did you have something to add?
Following Frank's point, we have been in those situations where we have, some buildings, some restaurants coming into buildings where the ceiling is really, really thin and has not been prepped for the kind of establishment and music. So I think it would be helpful if you could stipulate that if the problem continues, there could be, sound measurement audits and then remediation. If it continues, if it doesn't, that's fine.
Bert, did you have something to add?
Yes, this is just for going forward. James and anybody else in your building, in the neighborhood, you had mentioned that there was actually music going on past 4 o'clock under the previous owners. We need to know that. Clearly you did, and you communicated it to the owners perhaps, but the community board needs to know that. So we have something in writing, a history, a track record. It may have happened just once, but it may have happened more than once. We have to know if there's a pattern here. I'm not saying, Kevin, this is what's going to happen with your operation. I'm saying in the past and for anything in the future. And it goes for any kind of establishment in the neighborhood. We got to know what's going on. And I think we have a procedure, don't we, Nellie, on to report complaints on the board and how to do it.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bert. Yeah, we'll make sure that James, you have a copy of those procedures. I think Frank is working on writing some draft stipulations. I don't know, Max and Kevin, what you think about Christine's situation. Obviously, it's great if you're willing to put in a limiter now, but if these problems were to consist, reoccurring to do some more further sound stuff.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I
Max,
think.
how about this?
Uh-huh.
Applicant will obtain a sound limiter and install it at a level to ensure upstairs residents are not disturbed. If noise problems continue, applicant will explore noise mitigation solutions.
I think that's something that's sensible, and we could commit to that.
Okay, do we have any motions or additional comments?
Motion to approve.
I have a second from Christine. Nellie, do you want us to do, we'll just call on it one by at a time and everyone will vote. So Wendy.
Approve.
Bert.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Inga.
Approve.
Morgan.
Yes.
Christine. Mike Noble.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Is there any other board members that I missed?
Yeah, Rob Walker's on by phone, I believe.
Rob?
I think he's calling number one.
Rob, is that you?
That's me, yeah. Approval.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, Max, Nellie will send you the STIP form by email tomorrow. And if you or your client could, we'll flag the places for you, initial the changes you made to the form, and then sign it again with the additional stipulations I read.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up on the agenda, we have item number 2, 340 West 40th Street, Dentel French Bistro, also a hotel operation with several floors. Similar to the last one, we'll allow the applicant and the attorney to explain their operation. Frank may ask some technical questions with the applicant, and then we'll go through comments from the committee and from the public.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Hey, everybody. It's Rob Bookman from Pozetsky and Bookman. It actually is good to see all your faces again. Other than Max and the other people in my house, I don't think I've seen anybody else for a long time. So it's good. I hope everybody is well and are healthy, which is really most important. I also had to have Max move into my house because otherwise I wouldn't know how to do all of this. So good for all of you people my age who figured it out. So this is an existing hotel, Staybridge Suites. It's a tourist kind of hotel. It's on 40th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue. Port Authority is the entire other side of the block. There are a few similar kind of touristy kind of hotels on their side. It's an existing hotel liquor license and existing restaurant in there. Previously, the hotel operator itself operated the food and beverage, and they actually wanted a food and beverage operator to come in. So my client and their team, I think they're on the phone, Lorianne and her fiance, they are, and Sarah McHugh, who will be the manager, are experienced food and beverage operators. They've worked at Balthazar and many other places. And this is who Staybridge picked to operate food and beverage. So there are 3 small F&B spaces within the hotel, 4 on the lobby floor and 1 is on the basement. Okay. Somebody clapping some eggs, it sounds like. I'll take a...
I think people are clapping because it's 7 o'clock where I'm hearing it. I don't know if all of you are hearing it where you are.
You don't get that in the suburbs. I thought somebody was making eggs, you know, that's what it sounded like. On the lobby floor, down is the restaurant. It's, you know, it's a small restaurant. And then also on the lobby floor in the back of the lobby is a small typical, you know, lobby lounge, you know, that would have a bar. And then downstairs, and that's the only new part, which didn't exist before. There's a downstairs room, which had previously, I believe, only been used for meetings in the hotel. And it's going to be for private events and some lounge overflow with just a service bar down there. So altogether, all three locations is only about 114 or so seats. Other than that, you know, it's pretty standard hotel type of operation. They tend to have occasional jazz, acoustic type of music, a piano player in the lobby lounge from time to time. Although DJ is circled, that's because there will be a person playing curated music. It's not a, you know, not a club. There's no dance areas or anything like that. But there will be a live person who will curate the music rather than just have a canned tape. That's about it. Happy to answer any questions.
Rob, could we hear a little from the applicants? I think you said someone was on the phone, right?
I believe they're on the phone.
Yeah, could you
Yes,
tell
Lori,
us?
ATN is here.
Great, welcome. Could you just tell us a little bit about your plans and your experience?
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear the question.
Experience. Your
Well,
team's experience.
Yeah, I've been in this business for about 20 years, mostly as a GM. My last one was with Minton and Cecil on 118 in Harlem. Before that, I was at Chef's Clubs on in the meatpacking. I'm sorry, in the Park Building. I'm sorry. We basically were trying to do a little bit more of a French tapas, a little bit more of a something like what's the name of that place on 40th Street? Boqueria. I don't know if you're familiar with Boqueria on 40th Street. So basically, that's what it is.
And Sarah has worked at Balthazar and a number of other, you know, very top restaurants in New York as well.
Okay, thanks. Just want to try to clear away some of the easy things at the beginning.
Sure.
So in January 2010, we recommended approval for a prior operator in this space, but their operations were more limited. It had a 1 a.m. nightly close, background music only, no outdoor space, and about a quarter of the capacity that's now being sought. The steps there were for 32 patrons, all seated at 16 tables. We got two emails from the community, which I'll just summarize for people. One is from the Midtown South Community Council president, who says, my general thoughts are that the 4 a.m. closing is a bit extreme. Those are club hours. I would not jeopardize your bread and butter operation, the hotel. With these club hours, they are unnecessary to the hotel operation and tend to cause problems in neighborhoods. Even though the housing in this area has been decimated, it does provide pockets of residential living, and there's a desire to work towards a better balance. So with that in mind, I'd ask you to rethink your hours. Your hours usually invite many problems that have been all too repetitive for this community. We're saturated with hotels, not too many people, too much garbage, etc. And then another community member wrote about asking the applicant to respect the property line. Absolutely. That means no stanchions on the sidewalk, which are visible in their own picture accompanying their application. No tables and chairs, no serving stations, no menu pedestals, no planters beyond the property line. This is a busy street for pedestrian traffic, particularly since there are several hotels on the block, and it seems that guests and tourists always congregate in front on a narrow sidewalk. So I guess maybe we should start with that. Rob, I assume you're agreeable to a stip that says you'll keep everything, you know, within your property line, the planters, the stanchions, all of that stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay. In the email your client sent around, they talked about an enclosed patio deck. Is that the thing in front?
That's the thing in front. Yes, the building is set back at that spot. So within the property line, they were looking to put about 10 seats. Correct.
Okay. And are those seats going to be separate from the inside? It's not going to be a situation where like glass doors are going to be open, creating a indoor-outdoor space.
Well, there are French doors, but we agreed to close them at your stipulated hours.
And whenever there's any music inside.
Yes.
Okay. Or amplified sound.
Correct.
And also you agreed that everyone outside is going to be seated. So it's not going to turn into a standing bar.
No, that's correct. It's just a little sidewalk cafe, but it's within the property line. It's it's not a technical sidewalk cafe license.
Great, thanks. You said you're going to have a storm enclosures. I assume that's going to be within the property line since your doors are set back?
That's correct.
Okay. You also said you were going to make changes to the facade, but didn't specify what they were. Do you know what your client?
I don't know. Are those the French doors you would, Etienne?
Yes, it's because we're gonna enclose it. That's the only changes that are gonna be made.
Right now it's, I don't think there are French doors there. I think it's plate glass window, so that would be the change.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
do you mean you're going to enclose the outdoor area that is in front of the setback?
Yeah, right now it's the deck, but it's a part of the hotel, but it's not enclosed at all. So that's the only changes we're making. We're adding the French doors so that it is enclosed.
So are the French doors going to be between the sidewalk and the outdoor tables, or are the French doors between the facade of the hotel and the outdoor tables?
I don't understand exactly your question.
My understanding is that the French, they're not extending the border of the hotel to the property line, that they are, where there's plate glass, my understanding from speaking to the hotel, that the hotel is going to install those French, type of windows. We're not enclosing any area that's not currently enclosed.
Yes, they are.
That's not my understanding from speaking to the hotel.
Can we clarify?
Well, the hotel's not on the line.
What is the relation? So this is also, it's a new food operator, but it's also a new hotel operator?
No, hotels
from Staybridge to Delta Marriott, or is that wrong?
That's wrong as far as I know. It's still the same. The hotel hasn't changed. It's just they decided not to operate it themselves and bring in a food and beverage tenant.
So can I ask the question again?
But the application said that it was going from, it was going, I found them wrong, but the application did say one hotel to another, Staybridge and Delta Marriott, that there was a new, now, maybe that's just the same operator, but with a different brand name. I don't know the hotel business, but it seemed like it was a whole new operation.
I'm looking at the application. I don't see that, Frank.
It was actually in the email your client sent to the community. Dentel French Bistro will be opening in the Delta Marriott Hotel, currently the Staybridge Hotel.
Oh, that I don't know. Etienne, what is that about?
Yeah, right now it is the Staybridge. It's the exact same owner of the hotel, but now it's going to be called the Delta Marriott. From the Staybridge to the Delta Marriott.
It's the same owners?
Same owners, yeah.
Okay. When I spoke to the owners, Christine, they didn't mention anything about a name change on the wall. Sorry.
So is this just a change of franchises? I mean, we have a different name here.
It sounds like they're going to be franchising with someone with a different brand, yes, but I spoke to the actual manager and, of the hotel, and he didn't say anything about anything new ownership or anything like that. So
Those the same bodies.
same people, right? Same bodies, I guess which makes sense. I guess maybe that's why the new brand wanted a more upscale food and beverage operation than Staybridge was.
Okay.
I was gonna say that is some of the concern. I know Staybridge Suites is sort of a work away from home where you'd show up Monday to Thursday and you have a kitchen. I know Delta by Marriott is more of a business hip leisure brand, and they want more of the full service hotel. So even if it's the same company, they might now be going for a livelier clientele that might explain why they want to be open till 4, but also why the community sees it as a different type of operator and a different community impact.
That makes sense. That's right. And again, it was difficult communicating with all the different parties. Not being in the office, not everybody in there. But that makes sense. Which is these hours are pretty much what they're instituting. For us. They want 3 nights a week. Hotel guests to be able to to come downstairs, and have a drink or have a bite to eat. Full kitchen's going to be open till 3 o'clock, and light, and those three nights, and light food afterwards.
I think Christine had started to ask a question.
Yeah. So I wanted to try to clarify the outdoor thing. So my understanding is that the applicant want to enclose that outdoor space, which is within the property. Okay. And so is that accurate, first of all?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you enclose it, the interface to the street is going to be glass or whatever it is. And there will not be a door there. Is that true?
That's going to be enclosed, but with French doors.
Okay.
Etienne, you saying there's not going to be any outdoor area?
No, it's not going to be an outdoor area. I mean, you can. It's within the limits of the hotel,
right.
And
is there going to be an open? When we went over this, you said there was going to be a small outdoor area right in front of the hotel within the property line. Outdoor means outdoors, not indoors. If the hotel is planning on enclosing that, that's fine. They have the right to do that, presumably, if it's within their property line. But then we will amend the application to say no outdoor area. So it can't be, it's got to be one or the other, indoors or outdoors.
Well, what I mean by that is, we have the ability to open them. That's why I said outdoor.
Every window has the ability to open, but when you're on the inside of the window, you're indoors.
Question,
Okay,
is
so
it a temporary or permanent enclosure? I think that's what they're getting to. I think it's a temporary enclosure is what they're saying.
Right.
Like during the winter time.
So I have a follow-up question on that, which is that, and it's really an open question. I don't know the answer to it, but I'd like to get an answer. Is my understanding is that from a zoning standpoint, all these hotels in those streets have been able to go to a higher number of stories because they were recessed. And therefore, if you enclose down there, it gets in conflict with your zoning. So I think, Frank, we need to do that with the the city planning and the zoning, and Jesse could help, and Nelly and Jesse need to help us, because I'm pretty sure, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this was the trade-off.
Yeah. But I think
we're just the operator. This is the space that the landlord is handling. They're handling all applications. All I could tell you is, they were planning on putting seats out there. If they can't get it approved, then it won't be there.
Right, right.
But based on the pictures, they already have outdoor seats there. I think but they're truly outdoors.
But it's outdoor. That's the point.
Yeah. So, Robert, maybe the next thing you can do is to figure out, exactly what the plans are.
Well, I
whether
think
it's
from what I hear, our application is correct that there are outdoor seats there now. We plan on continuing to have true outdoor seats there within the property line, but that the hotel owner is looking to apply to the buildings department to enclose it. And, you know, if approved, you know, that then there won't be any outdoor space. And if not approved, there will be outdoor space.
So if it's approved, there will be an alteration.
No, well, there'll be an alteration to the buildings department.
No,
We
no,
will know the
alteration
answers
to
as
the
people
license.
apply to the
because
liquor authority.
The liquor authority will have, it's a different, right?
Well, depends on when we get the application into the liquor authority.
Yeah.
If we get an answer from the, you know, from the building architect, you know, next week or something, then I'll know better. But for our purposes today, there's going to be 12 seats out there. I think it's more impactful that it's outdoor rather than enclosed as far as, you know, impact. So that's what we have now, and that's what we're asking for. And we'll let you know as soon as possible, maybe even before the full board meeting, if we find out that it's in fact going to be enclosed.
Okay.
I think there is some concern if it turns out to be a permanent structure abutting the property line, and then there's another entrance or egress there, how that would impact the street life. So yes. I think we'd ask you maybe to stipulate that if an enclosure that is physical happens outside of that area, you'll come back to us.
Fine.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Good point.
And yeah, hopefully you can get some clarity from the hotel owner before the full board.
Exactly.
Frank, Christine, or other committee members, other technical issues before we get into maybe method of operation and hours? Oh, Inga, sorry, yes, Inga was next. Inga, and then we'll come back to you, Christine.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. From what I understood from the explanation of the French doors and closing the outdoor, if you look at that picture of the way it's recessed now, there's a glass wall with doors going into the hotel. The outside seating with the little shrubs and the 12 chairs behind the little planters, and then a glass wall. They're going to remove that glass wall, put French doors out by the sidewalk to be flush with all the other buildings, and want to open those French doors, which would open to the entire hotel. So I think we need to talk about the French doors and let them know they can't open them. Because that's going to open, it's not going to, that glass wall behind that's there now is going to be gone. So if they open their French doors, they're going to open it up to the whole back of the hotel and have that sound coming out to the street. So if they want French doors, they cannot open them.
Why?
Unless they're walking in and out. You can't just open your
not walking in and out, but thousands of restaurants have French doors and comply with your stipulations, and it opens up to the entire restaurant. How would that be any different?
There's going to be a lot of noise coming out of those French doors.
Let's at least get some clarity. I don't know either Rob or Lorianne. I'm looking at page 12 of your plans. Are the French doors on the top next to the bar? Right, this is the layout of the first floor. Would the proposed French doors be adjacent to the bar? Would they be below that, between all the seats at the edge of the property line? Or would they be between 12 of the seats and the interior? Do those three categories make sense to people?
I don't know the answer.
Yoni, I'm sorry, I could not understand exactly what you what is your actual question, please?
Do you have your floor plans up that you submitted?
Yes, that is one of them right now.
You see on the top right, there's a bar area.
Yes.
Are the French doors, to your understanding, adjacent to the bar, like a window that someone would come walk up to?
No, at that level, no. There's no French doors at that level. You mean by the bar?
Yeah. Where would the French doors be precisely?
On page 12.
Yeah, on page 12. There'll be like where you see all those seats.
North, south, east, or west?
East of the bar.
How many seats would be between the French doors and the street?
12.
12.
Oh.
See, okay. You see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little two tops there?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 12 seats in the cutout area of the hotel.
So the proposed French doors would be between the private unenclosed outdoor space and the hotel.
According to the plan. According to the architect's plan, that's not, listen, we can talk about this all night. The answer is we don't know the answer without talking to the building owner, and I thought we were going to resolve that. According to the plan that the building owner and this designer gave me, that we gave you, there are no glass or anything along the property line.
Right.
Okay.
That French doors were going to be established between those indoor two tops and the outdoor two tops.
Right.
That's what this plan shows. We will get that clarified for you, but that's what the plan shows.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Rob, I just had a couple more technical things. A community member also mentioned that a lot of these hotels have outdoor speakers and amplified music that, comes out across the sidewalk.
We will not.
So do we have a stip that there won't be outdoor speakers?
No outdoor speakers.
And no music audible from the sidewalk?
Correct.
And then I know you already agreed to this, but I just want to make sure your client understands, particularly if they had with the French doors, that they have to be closed whenever there's amplified sound or music inside and after 10 p.m. weekdays, 11 p.m. weekends.
That's correct.
Okay. That was what I thought was the easy stuff, which I guess leaves us with the closing hours and the music issues.
Frank, do you want me to see if there are any callers that have comments, and then we'll get to those? So I'm going to go, it's a little difficult when people call in, so I'm going to unmute you one at a time. So caller number 2, if you can identify yourself, I'm unmuting you. Caller number 3, you are unmute. Caller number 4, you are on unmute. Caller number 5, caller number 6. Maybe they all left, Nellie?
Yes, they all left.
Okay.
I don't see them on my screen.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Frank was talking about the music and the hours.
So as far as hours go, folks, indoors for a hotel, 3 nights, 2 nights a week, 4 a.m. is not unusual. We're talking about indoor space, not a roof deck or anything like that. It's a hotel. People come and go all hours of the night. They someday, hopefully, they'll go to Broadway again. They'll want to eat out and then come back to their hotel. It's not unusual. You have plenty of hotels in your community board that 2 or 3 nights a week, their potential closing hours 4 a.m. Also, I've got to say, right now, we don't know what's going to be when this is all over. And anybody who wants to open up a new business now is as you can tell from your agenda of two items, they're hard to come by. Anybody willing to invest money right now into the hospitality industry, and they're going to need the most flexibility possible. We don't know when people are going to feel comfortable to come out again, and what that's going to look like. So we really can't, see, under the current circumstances, limiting, our possibilities any further than we did. It's not a nightclub. There's no dancing. I don't see the problem.
Christine?
There is no jazz business after 2 o'clock, so that's one thing. And I mean, would they stipulate to stop the music at 2 o'clock?
Stop background music?
No, stop any other music.
Live music and DJ.
Right.
That should maybe even be earlier than 2. Live music.
But let's say at 2 o'clock, I mean, I'd be happy with that if they do a set, etc. It shows that it's not like a late destination.
That would make Christine happy, which is always my goal in life. then yes, I think that would be reasonable in exchange for keeping our proposed hours.
I have a question for Christine.
Yeah.
When you say 2 o'clock, you mean that at 2 o'clock, no music at all?
No, I'm saying no music except background.
Background music, no DJ or live music past 2 a.m.
Right.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
I really understand your concern, absolutely. And I know that there's the hours and the music always been an issue when it comes to hospitality. I know that. There is also, and I hope you'll be considered that, we're having so many people calling us right now for work. This project's supposed to start before the coronavirus. And what happened now is with the coronavirus changing our plans, but we had already a bunch of people that we said that we're going to hire and then we're going to talk. So a lot of them are calling to find out what's going to happen. I know that 2 a.m., that would be ideal. But I also think that it is important to consider that we're trying to be a little bit more flexible to get people a little bit more work. We're also trying to save our industry. I believe that it is important to consider that at this moment, please.
Etienne, we're not talking about the hours of operation, you understand. They're agreeing that, at least Christine is, that our proposed hours are fine. We would just be ensuring them that it doesn't turn into a nightclub after 2 a.m. by only those 3 nights, by only having background music for those 2 hours. That's all.
Which I understand perfectly. Which I understand perfectly. Thank you, Robert.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to explain to Christine is I don't understand what background music is. For example, if we go with jazz, or
we'll explain it to you. We'll explain it to you. Background music is recorded background music. It means we won't have bands on after that time. We won't have our DJ on after that time. You can have recorded. You can have recorded music. I'll explain the details to you.
Right, and the background music is a level of music too. I mean,
yes.
The level of intensity.
Level, so you can
talk over it.
It's not entertainment level. It's so people could talk and have a drink late at night when they came back from the theater. There's still some music on there, so it's not dead. We understand that. They understand.
We're not talking about live jazz.
We understand your concern, Lorianne, about the industry, and we also want to find ways for the industry to prosper during this crisis. But that doesn't mean every single location is appropriate for every method. And we're trying to determine what is a venue that people go to for nightlife versus a venue at your hotel after you're out for the evening.
Which I do get, which I do understand your concern. But so what you're saying is 7 days a week, 2 a.m.?
For the music.
No.
4 days a week, you're closing at 2 a.m. anyway.
We're only talking about the live jazz.
Right.
That's all we're referring to. We're not talking about when the kitchen closes, when you throw people out. That's not what we're referring to. We're referring to the presence of live jazz. And the strong suggestion is
that's good.
Stop the live jazz at 2 a.m. The operation maybe continues to 4, but the live jazz stops at 4 a.m.
2 a.m.
Okay.
2 a.m. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. There's just a communication issue. Thank you.
Got it.
Any other issues from the committee?
I have a question that we usually have about and maybe that's not the right operator, but about the linen and the garbage, etc. And if you could talk, Max, to the new operator and see whether they are going to behave properly on that, that'd be good.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Anybody have anything else, or I will read the steps I've come up with.
Hey, I got a point to make real quick. This is Rob. In the letter from Lorianne to the Block Association, right above the hours, we will have live jazz music within enclosure patio decks that will close by 11 p.m. Can we discuss the hours for that?
Yeah, the outdoor area, assuming it's outdoors, would comply with your outdoor hours, you know.
Good. Is that in the tips?
Nope.
Yeah, they agreed to that usual STIP in the outdoor space page. Page
Yeah, there's a
5,
place for that.
page
Wow.
5. So Rob Walker, for the outdoor tables, to the extent they remain outdoors, that space has to be closed and vacated by 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday and 10 p.m. on all other days.
So we have 3 other callers that have joined. I'm going to unmute them one at a time if they have anything to add. Caller number 7, caller number 8, and caller number 9, you're unmuted. Hello, caller number 9. Can you introduce yourself or do you have anything to say? Okay.
Okay. Anything else from the committee? All right. So Ralph Bookman, these are the STIPs I have, which I think we've discussed all of them. Live music and DJ will cease no later than 2 a.m. every day. There'll be no outdoor speakers. No music or amplified sound from the establishment shall be audible from the sidewalk. Nothing belonging to the establishment shall be placed on the public sidewalk. All establishment property, including outdoor tables and chairs, planters, menus and signboards and stanchions, shall be placed within the establishment's property line. If applicant seeks to enclose outdoor area in front of hotel, applicant will present such plans to MCB4 prior to implementing.
That's correct. Excellent notes as usual, Frank.
Frank, can we include some kind of reference to what Christine had brought up before about that they may have gotten a zoning variance to go up higher because they created a quote unquote public plaza. And if they enclose it, this is all contingent because we don't know yet what the hell is going on. But if they do close it, it may be a violation of the zoning variance. Can we have something in writing that this needs to be explored?
Well, that's what the last tip was trying to get at. Maybe it doesn't go far enough. If applicant seeks to enclose outdoor area in front of hotel, applicant will present such plans to MCB4 prior to implementing.
I think it's fair to what Bert's saying. I think we should have to present approvals from the building department to enclose it, not just plans. Anybody can file plans.
I would also add, and this might be something we need to check, if this is a POPs of privately owned public space that was given in exchange for a higher variance, then public must have equal access to it and can it not be table service. So we might want to check before the full board, because if it turns out this is a privately owned public space, you can't have table service out there.
I have no information if it is. Those areas are usually much larger, those POPs, than this is.
Yeah.
This looks like a tiny little setback. I doubt it, but I will speak to the building owner.
Yeah. Rob, the reason I was talking in terms of plans was that, I think we need to be involved early on. We don't want you, we've had a lot of problems with the building department approving things inadvertently that they shouldn't approve. So I guess what I was saying was we really want to hear from you if you're going to go forward and enclose this at an early stage.
It's my first call tomorrow is to the manager of the hotel to find out and to this architect, because I don't see that here. And if that's what their plan is, I'll get right back to you, Frank and Yoni.
Okay. Bert, are you okay with that, given the STIP we have? Okay. We ready to take a vote?
Motion to approve.
We have a second? All right.
Second.
All right, Nellie, you want to do the roll call?
Frank,
Yes?
Inga,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Yoni,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Rob Walker,
No.
Rob, say that again.
No.
Okay.
Is that it? Are there any other committee members? Mike Noble?
He answered.
Okay, missed him.
Rob Bookman, I had the general question. Are 500-foot hearings still suspended at the SLA? Do you know?
Yes.
So nothing can happen. I mean, both of the things we heard today are 500-foot cases, right?
Well, good question. Well, they suspended the 500-foot hearings. My understanding was that they were not stopping the processing of applications, however.
Right. So how does that, I guess that's what I was asking. How does that?
I think it's part of the governor's emergency order that the liquor authority can proceed, with written statements. I mean, I've been getting approvals, but nothing, I haven't filed anything since that where it's gotten that far yet. So it is a good question. Don't know what they're going to do. And we're frankly probably more set up than most law firms are right now. So, we'll probably be the first to find out the answer to that question, because we're filing a couple this week and a couple next week, long-standing projects that are all 500-foot cases. It's a good question.
Their full board meetings are, as you know, going by written submission, and so I think we'd probably ask them to do the same.
Yeah, my guess is that's what they're going to do. Is they're going to be the 500-foot hearings will be written submission only.
Okay.
If this is all still going on by the time they're at the point in processing applications where they get to.
Yeah, right now, I understand the liquor authority is running at about 25% capacity staff.
Yeah.
So while it was lightning speed before, it's even slower now. Did you have another case so I can give you a 2-minute update on what what's going on at a higher level, so just so you guys know?
Should we adjourn the meeting for whatever?
That's fine.
So we're obviously, really concerned about what opening up is going to look like. We're working with a number of other business groups and directly with the